Hello, everybody. So this is what I call a special edition or episode of the Writer Circus. Normally, I read 4 to 5, 6, even 7 authors' books at a time. A few pages here and there. But I decided that because I'm uploading it to YouTube now, that at least once a week, maybe even twice a week, still haven't decided yet. I will focus on one author for one of the episodes per week or so and just read a chapter of their book so that the entire focus of the video is just on one author. Because I think if I do 5, 6, 7, sometimes I think that all the authors combined kind of get lost in the shuffle because there's so many to listen to. So I think just narrowing it down to just one once a week and then the rest of the time just kind of sharing everybody is a good format. I'm going to see how it works. Today I'm going to do Dianne Dotson, who I've gotten to know over the last couple of years. I met her at Mysterious Galaxy Bookstore, which is the greatest independent bookstore I've ever been to in San Diego. I bought her book, Heliopause, which I'm going to show you right now. Put it against my laptop here. 1 second. Bought this. Got a signed copy. Hey, Leon. Hey, David. I love the artwork, and this is a really, really great story. I've read through it once. I'm going to read through it again soon. And I was just swept away. Great story. When I found out she was making Ephemeris, which is book 2, which I'm reading from today, I was like, cool, especially when she told me that it takes place before, during, and after Heliopause. And so it's a book you really have to pay attention to, and it's not because it's too complex. I mean, it's a complex story, don't get me wrong, but it takes you to these places, and the world she describes, the characters she describes, you feel like you know them, and this story is really immersive. And I meant it when I said about her website. Her website has background art on the characters and details. So it's not just the information you read in the book. There's like more things. It's almost like when the Watchmen movie came out and people started reading those prequel comic books to kind of get an idea whether or not people agree with them or not. So anyways, it's a great site. Also, she's a scientist and she has science articles. I'm a big fan of science, so her articles are really fun. Also, I just want to share that for my book, Middle School Madness, which has been released, and I'm re-releasing it soon, she was very kind enough to provide me with 50 science facts that I can apply to the little factoids I put at the bottom of every page. Hey, speak of the devil. Bad term. But, hey, Dianne Dotson, thank you for tuning in. So, with that, I'm going to go and get started in a moment. But first, I want to show you the other book, and I do have to apologize because I sat on this one. And it was an accident, but I have 2 kids. And so it's a little dog-eared, but you can see what a wonderful cover it is. Hey, Mark. See, it's kind of got dog-eared there because, again, I sat on it. It was on the couch, and I sat down on it and bent the page. Kind of embarrassed because I like to take care of my books, especially, when they get signed by, well, it's signed on the next page. But anyways, look at that cover. I mean, her cover art is just amazing. And... oh, no problem. I understand you got to work. And thank you for sharing the link. Check out her books, believe me. These are good on Kindle or paperback, either way. I'm a big fan of paperback, but I do read on Kindle sometimes too. But either way, there's nothing better than a paperback in your hand. But this is a great story. I've said this before about her series. I like book 2 better, the one I'm about to read to. I love book 1. I like book 2 even better. I bet you book 3 and 4, which are going to be coming out. Book 3 is the next one, of course, and I think she's done with it, but just finishing up, putting some finishing touches on, and is already working on 4. And I have no doubt that 3 is going to be even better than 2. I always compare it to Star Wars. Some people like New Hope, some people like Empire, some people like Return of the Jedi better. But is it really that big a difference? No, because they're all awesome. So anyways, I'm going to get back to where I left off, and I think I was in chapter 37. I lost the bookmark I was using. Well, I didn't lose it, it just fell out, but I think it was chapter 37, so... yeah, I read this chapter. Okay, chapter 37, syntax. Syntax is a funny word because the first time I ever heard the word syntax is when I got a VIC-20 computer, and whenever I made a mistake typing in, it would say syntax error, and I had no idea what the heck they were talking about, but now I know. Ooh, much darker. Sounds good to me. I'll be buying it. Okay, so here we go. Chapter 37, syntax. Gala checked with Jana to see if she needed anything else to help decipher her cylinder's contents. Jenna enthusiastically dove into her task and waved Gala away, which suited her fine. She was exhausted. Hey, Martin. She entered the little room of Meredith's and collapsed on her quilt, not wanting to think about anything, and really needed to rest after the encounter with the summoners. I know that's not the last of them. I know. I'll have to deal with more of this. But for how long? For now? A nap. Hey, Martin. A fizzy crackling sound woke her, and she jerked up on her elbows. The room was dark, and Ariel and Meredith were sleeping. Ariel stirred, but remained asleep. The sound came through again. Pick up, please, a voice sounded. Gala realized it was the comms. She gingerly stepped over the other two women and switched the comms on. It was Rob. He waved, but his blue eyes shone wide. Hiya, he said as quietly as he could. I guess I should have been a whisper, sorry. You have a call up here. Want to come take it? Sure, Gala replied. She left the room and followed the sleek hallway with its lights lowered in simulated night to the cockpit. Rob was the only person there, and he swung around and smiled. Rob shrugged. I was completely riveted. Couldn't help it. You have that effect. Ah, cried Gala. I'm going back to bed. And she stalked off. They all met in the round room the next morning, everyone looking expectantly at Gala. She put on a bright smile because it didn't make sense to her to be anything but encouraged. She turned to Jana. Can you tell us what you found? Jana produced her cylinder. She held it up and it winked in the light. She held it up and it winked in the light. I was able to get into the ship's memory, but it isn't anything like what we're used to. On this ship, or Mandira for that matter, Jenna told them all. But I think we may have what we need. Did I skip a page? Oh my God, I did. I am so sorry. Yeah, the page didn't... I'm sorry, I should look at the page number. So, forgive me. So let me go back a little bit. Well, that is embarrassing. I am so sorry. Let me go back here again. Go back a little step. Sure, Gala replied. She left the room and followed the sleek hallway with its lights lowered in simulated night to the cockpit. Rob was the only person there, and he swung around and smiled rakishly at Gala. You know, he said, standing to greet her, you could have said he was your boyfriend. I really don't need to be blasted by his silver eyes. And he snickered. Then he bowed his head sheepishly. He stepped toward the door. Oh, great. It's Ariad. He's not, Gala began, and she groaned. Rob stopped mid-gate. He's not. He smirked hopefully over his shoulder. Gala scowled at him and pointed to the door. I'll be back in a few minutes, he said, and he seemed suddenly buoyant. Gala sighed and sat in the pilot seat. She twitched her hair back and tried to tame it, lest to betray her ricocheting feelings. She switched on the comm screens. They stared at each other in silence, unsmiling. Yes, she said finally. Ariad's face looked sharp, creased in anger. How could you do this? After everything. This isn't some game. I know it's no game, Gala answered, chin high. Or if it is, it's a sick one played on our lives by the associates. I want no part of it. They're out of their depth. Ariad put his hands over his face and sighed. You may be right. So what's your plan now? I'm going to find all the devices, Gala answered. And then what? She heaved a huge sigh. I don't know. I have to figure out how to work them, somehow, to try and stop Peash Toan. Gala, you're being rash, said Ariad testily. Maybe, she answered, but at least I'm doing something. What's your plan, exactly? I'm following some leads, Ariad answered. Well, good luck with that, snapped Gala. The galaxy is changing, rapidly. I see it, Ariad agreed, but I don't follow all the Associates' rules. As well I know, muttered Gala. Touching her lips, Ariad noticed. I'm sorry, he said suddenly. He looked sorrowful. Can we get past this? I don't think so, no, said Gala. I can't sit with you in some sky palace for the rest of my life. It's not who I am. I've learned that much. Ariad sighed, nodded, and reached out with his hand. Gala extended hers. They touched on the screen. She blinked rapidly. Whatever you need, however I can help, just ask, he said. Thank you, she replied, and she turned the screen off. She swiveled around in her chair and saw a shadow at the door. You can come in now, she called. Rob peeked in uncertainly, his ginger hair outlined by the lights behind him. That went well, I thought, he exclaimed brightly. Gala gaped at him. You listened? Rob shrugged. I was completely riveted. Couldn't help it. You have that effect. Ah, Gala cried Gala. I'm going back to bed. And she stalked off. And that's where I left off before, sorry. They all met in the round room the next morning, everyone looking expectantly at Gala. She put on a bright smile because it didn't make sense to her to be anything but encouraged. She turned to Jana. Can you tell us what you found? Jana produced her cylinder. She held it up and it winked in the light. I was able to get into the ship's memory, but it isn't anything like what we used to, on this ship, or Madeira for that matter, Jana told them all. But I think we may have what we need. Everyone exhaled in relief. Gala bounced a bit in her seat. Jana the genius, Trent cried, shaking his head in awe. Go on, Gala encouraged Jana, clasping her hands together against her stone. Jana said, That's what appears to be an old database, something different from that ship's, and it's accessed remotely. But I couldn't track from where. But I sapped what I could from it, and I cross-linked it with Ariadne's world, and excluded Ika Nui and Perpetua. Excellent, murmured Gala. Trent asked, And then what? Well, Jana said, touching one of her earrings, there are worlds that fit a certain profile. None of them gaseous, all essentially Earth or super-Earth size. That's our homeworld, she interjected to Gala. I know, Gala replied. Go on, please. Jana continued. So, on a subset of those worlds, I queried for known underground caverns, based on what you described on Ricoloi. I had to play it fast and loose with dimensions, because it sounds like we don't really know what those are. And honestly, I wasn't sure it would work, because that database is some pretty weird shit. And? Meredith pressed, twisting her hands together. There are 21 planets with a similar underground structure, including Ricoloi. Everyone else gasped. Is there any pattern to them that you can... Is there any pattern to them you can recognize? Gala asked. Jana shook her head. Not that I could determine from the query. Let's find them all, Gala exclaimed, standing. One thing, Jana warned. We don't know for sure those are really the devices or if the signature is just similar natural structures. Gala nodded. True, and we don't know if they would even still be intact. Or what security they might have, muttered Trent. What happens then? Ariel asked Gala. I think we better make sure they're still there first, she replied. And then maybe something will happen, to me, as it did on Ricoloi. Gala felt a surge of excitement ripple through her entire body. She felt sure now that they were on the right track. Where it would lead, she could not guess, but it was a roadmap. Chapter 38, The Jewel. I'm going to read this chapter and then I'm going to wrap it up because I do have to do some other things. And again, I didn't want to overextend it. So chapter 38, The Jewel. Ariel sat on the floor of the makeshift room and rubbed her eyes. She had grown tired from the constant bombardment of human thoughts. After recent years of interacting very little with her own species, with Gala, she felt relief. But in turn, she wished she could speak with her through her thoughts. She smiled, thinking about her wild-haired, odd new friend. Gala simply could not effectively hide her feelings from anyone, and Ariel wanted somehow for her to stay that way forever. Gala seemed to her someone absolutely true, more so than even her own mother. To Ariel, Gala represented the ultimate free spirit, and while she was tempted to envy her, Ariel could not. Hey, Jill. What she did want was happiness for her friend. There had been something so discordant, now that Ariel knew them both, about Gala and Ariadne's relationship. It seemed obvious to her, and she had picked it up in Dagavabi's thoughts as well. Ariel had felt a quake of relief when Gala broke up with the mage. He was simply wrong for Gala. Ariel felt this to her core, and that saddened her. For who could be a companion for someone who did not seem to age? Hey, Cindy. And then she thought increasingly of Dagavabi, of stolen kisses, of spice-laden air wherever he was. They could not speak in their thoughts exactly, but she could read his, and he could feel hers. And something inside her had begun to awaken. It had really been triggered by watching Gala and Ariadne in better times. Her raw attraction to both of them in their moment of lust. And she walked into that night and broadcast those feelings. And Dagavabi had picked them up like a sailor lost at sea seeing the sweeping band of a lighthouse, unable to resist. Ariel curled her legs up to her chest and leaned against the wall. He was here, on this ship, so close. At that moment, Gala swept in like a wild summer rain, sudden and crashing and warm and bursting with life. Ariel grinned at her. She loved Galadea. She knew in that moment, here was the friend she had always wanted. She would never feel out of time or place anymore with this fully living creature in her life. Gala spun around and sat next to Ariel, back also against the wall, and wound ringlets of her brilliant hair all in her fingers. She exhaled excitedly. I finally feel like I'm doing something, she admitted. Like I'm on the path I'm supposed to be on. Ariel leaned forward and looked into Gala's flushed face. Gala's copper eyes were blazing. I think you definitely are, she told her friend. Gala made a funny little squeal and hugged Ariel ferociously. Ah! She yelped. Oh, sorry, Gala gasped, all apology and nurture suddenly. Ariel laughed. You seem happier now, she said. I'm sorry for what happened, though, but you deserve better than him. I hope, someday, if it's what you want, that you find someone who gets you. She pulled her long, dark hair back behind her ears and leaned her head on Gala's shoulder. I just love you. Gala nearly incandesced. I love you too, she cried. What a great day. And she excitedly went on. Jenna and I are working on a map with this ship, and we'll display it at lunch. Let me know what it shows, Ariel said. She seized Gala's left hand and stood. I have something I need to take care of. Dagavabi, she called. She did not hold anything back. She did not hold back anymore. She let her body feel everything it had been repressing on the ship. She opened up her emotions and he hoped he would feel them. Sorry, I just need something to drink to clear my throat a little bit. It's a little dry. Yes, I'm drinking. Well, it's not really Powerade. It's actually Kool-Aid in a Powerade bottle. He met her in the hallway. The cinnamon scent seemed to swirl around her. The golden rings glowed in his dark eyes. She walked to him slowly, taking in the sight of him, strong yet gentle. She was a damaged person and had spent many years in cold darkness and loneliness. And this man stood here, all embers and strength and openness, all the warmth she had ever wanted and needed. I'm ready, Ariel told Dagavabi. They slipped into the little room off the hall, hands and lips and sweat intermingling, clothes falling. In the dim light, her pale green eyes stared into his dark, gold-edged eyes and never looked away. And their feelings and thoughts swirled all together, crashing and tumbling, minds and bodies folding together, exploding, expanding, contracting and completely entwined. Gala, meanwhile, sighed in her room. She was excited, but it felt bittersweet. Aside from her friction with Ariad, she could not help but think that Onioti would have known exactly what she must do next. And he was gone. Here now, she had no Star City, but instead a lone ship from her former lover, and a small crew of mostly humans. She did not know why any of them would want to help her, but for some reason they did. She clenched her jaw. She could not let them down. She joined Jana in the conference room and noticed the dark circles under the other woman's eyes. Jana, she said quietly, you look so tired. Maybe we should table this for now, and you can rest. No, insisted Jana, her blinking betraying her fatigue. I couldn't sleep. I had to think about all this. I wanted to find a pattern like you mentioned, and I think I did, but I don't understand it. Gala's eyes widened. Let's wait for everyone else, and then you can tell us. The others filed into the room, except for Ariel and Dagavabi. Well, we know what they're doing. Gala raised one eyebrow, wondering, but kept her mouth shut. She remembered the looks they had exchanged. Good morning, Gala said to them all. I'm happy to report we may have something of a map. Well, not exactly a map, Jana explained, and she projected an orrery of sorts above the table. They all beheld the galaxy itself, its bright core, its spiral arms, and then a small illuminated shape between the arms and the core. It's really more a picture of, well, it looks like a horseshoe, Rob exclaimed. Meredith nodded. So the systems are all in that shape? That's the pattern? Gala clarified. That's it, said Jana, enlarging the pattern. Why would the devices be in such a pattern? Meredith wondered. Maybe they're all pointing at something, Trent enthused. Gala felt a thrill. That had to be it. She peered at the outline shaped as if it were some enormous constellation. Millions upon millions of stars were in the same area, but for some reason those particular systems made a U-shaped arc. What could they be pointing at? Rob asked. Could be anything, Jana said. Or nothing, Meredith reminded them. Gala said, I think there must be a reason for the pattern. Maybe by visiting each of them we can figure it out. And that's it? Rob asked. I mean, as your pilot, I take you anywhere you want to go. But, oh. Here's the picture on the back of the book. Here, let me see if I can give my voice a rest while I do it. That's really cool. I love this cover art. It's just so, the art style is just so unique and it's very impressive. Wish I could draw like that. Okay, so I'll pick up where I left off here. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go back just a couple of sentences. And that's it? Rob asked. I mean, as your pilot, I'll take you anywhere you want to go. But hear me out. What if you need to do more than just visit? What are we really doing? Why would you be needed? I feel like we need to know that before we start gallivanting around the galaxy. Not, he said quickly, with a slyest wink at Gala, that I don't want to. It is a dope book cover. Yeah, I love this cover. It's incredible. And so's the book, by the way. Gala blinked at him in surprise. He's more resourceful than I thought. She let out a big sigh. I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something here. Time for Mr. Deep Space Booty Call, Rob said. I'm glad to see that expression has remained popular into the next century or two, because I've always thought it's funny. Also, just real quick, speaking of, I saw the word spiral arm on the last page, and that's the name of Dianne Dotson's newsletter, so you should sign up for that too. It's really cool, and it keeps you up to date with her book. Sometimes she shares some science stuff, and it's just really kind of cool to keep up with. It's fun. It's a good read. Well, I'm going to read it again. Time for Mr. Deep Space Booty Call, Rob said. And the second he did, he clapped his hand over his mouth, which is, kind of like when you say something, you're like... Everyone stared at him. Gala tossed her feisty hair back. Definitely not, she answered briskly. Everyone squirmed, looking between her and Rob. Apology accepted, by the way, she muttered. You look like a bruise right now. That's a good put down. Rob sat down, mortified. Gala could feel her hair curling tighter from rage, but she breathed consciously to calm herself. Now, God, I mean, we all know that I have no filter, but Rob really put his foot in it. We try to figure this out on our own, she said firmly, until such time that we need, and she cleared her throat, any outside assistance. She leaned in to look again at the horseshoe and said very softly, What is it? What are we supposed to see there? The door slid open and Ariel and Dagavaby slipped in. See, what would be great for this scene is I'm not just kidding here. Dagavaby walks in, you see him go zip, but probably not. Gala could almost feel Rob forming the words, and she shot him a terrible glare. No one at the table said a word. Sorry we're late, Dagavaby apologized. Lunch, Ariel explained lamely. Yeah, that's lame, Ariel. Come on, you can do better. Booty call would be better than that. Anyways, lunch, Ariel explained lamely. Oh, no problem. I'm going to put this on YouTube, and I will email it to you, too. Gala could see Jenna and Rob exchange quick glances and cover their mouths to keep from laughing. Meredith turned slowly to look at her daughter, and Ariel's already flushed face went scarlet. Oh, her mom's on the ship. I forgot about that. I'm pretty sure my mom knows since I have 2 kids that I've done it, too. So, anyway, Gala said, mildly exasperated, we have a sort of map for systems with devices, and they're arranged in a kind of pattern. A horseshoe, Ariel chimed in, nodding. If you say so, replied Gala crisply, frustrated that she had no idea what a horseshoe was. Hey, Ashley. Dagavaby asked, why would they be in that pattern? We went over this, and we think maybe they're all pointed at something, Gala responded. Dagavaby leaned in and Jenna enlarged the picture more. Everyone stared at the image. If these devices all work together, there must be a focal point for them, he said. Nothing that we can see on this map, Meredith answered, looking intently at him. He glanced sheepishly at her and then away, but Gala could see the tiniest switch in the corner of Meredith's mouth. Focus, murmured Ariel. What? said Gala, her brow creasing. Dagavabi said, focal point. So that's why we need to focus, said Ariel. She straightened and looked at Meredith. Like when Forster and I moved Mandira, she exclaimed. We had to focus our minds to do it. Oh, yeah. Like I was saying, her website has a lot of art on the characters. It's definitely worth checking out. Let's see. That's it? Rob asked in amazement. That's all you did? You just thought it away? Well, Ariel admitted, we had Ariadne's help. Rob rolled his eyes and muttered, sorry I asked. That wasn't all you had, Meredith said suddenly. She stared at Gala. Ariel looked at Gala and her eyes grew huge as her gaze fell to the faceted violet stone on the woman's breast. Holy shit, breathed Ariel. Gala threw her hands into the air. What? She cried. We used Ariadne's little stone, cried Ariel. We focused our minds and the stone amplified our abilities. Wait, said Gala, thinking hard. We also repelled Peashtoan on Vale Car together with this stone. So you need that stone, Trent said slowly, squinting, to repel Peashtoan? Okay, got it. But how does that relate to this map and to these devices? Gala closed her eyes. What had she seen in the device in Ricoloi? So many images had whirled past her, none of them making sense at the time. And yet that never happened with Ariadne, only to her. It's me, she said slowly. I am the stone. I'm sorry. What? Janet said. Janet asked what everyone was thinking. Gala looked at each of them in turn. I am Diamethyst, she told them. I was born of it, and I am made of it. This is only one piece of the shell I awoke from, she added, holding her necklace. But, said Rob at a loss. You look human. She bit her lip. That's because I'm a representative. I'm one of several beings that are chosen to represent a particular species. In this case, I represent humans. Janet pushed her lips together. Really? She said, an edge in her voice. Trent rubbed his face in utter confusion. Rob stared at her until she thought she would scream, and Meredith, Ariel, and Dagavabi looked deep in thought. Meredith spoke up. You said that stone you're wearing is only one piece? We know there's another, the one Ariadne has. How much more of this do you have? Gala stood up stick straight. I have the whole geode I was born in. So, a baby-sized geode? Rob asked. I was always the way you see me, Gala told them. I was never a baby. Head shakes and blinks met her. She began to tremble. Dagavabi raised his hand and said, So that means you actually have an adult, person-sized geode full of Diamethyst? Yes, said Gala slowly, her spirit sinking. Then where is it? He asked. Ricoloi, said Gala. Rob groaned. Here we go again. And that was chapter 38. So I'm going to wrap it up here. So that was Dianne Dotson's book 2, Ephemeris. I'll show you the cover one more time. Book 2 of the Questrison Saga. And thank you guys all for tuning in. Hopefully you guys will check me out later when I do the live read with several other authors. And I'll see you guys then. Have a great day, and thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.